When I call the meeting to order of Parks and Recreation Commission for May 18th. So first order of business is roll call. Mr. Hampson. Here. Mr. Lee. Mr. Rich. Here. Mr. Katchner. Here. Mr. Neal. Here. Mr. Sherman. Here. Mayor Will. Wow. I'm sorry. Director Tucker Knight. Here. Assistant Director Lieutenants. Here. We have a quorum. On to the next order of business, which is written communications. So are there any? I have no communications. Okay. Let's see. With Don, do you see anyone with return from citizens?
There are no citizens.
There are no citizens. Okay. We'll move then to the approve the minutes of April 20th, 2022. I believe that was posted in the agenda. Does anybody have any comments or any changes that you want to make to those minutes? If not, I will motion to approve the minutes of April 20th, 2022. Motion to approve the minutes for April 20th, 2022. Second. Okay. Let's get back. Wow, I didn't think it was controversial. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The director's report is next, but I'm going to share. We have exciting news and we have sad news. Ed Kastner, who has been on the commission for 14 years, took a job with the city yesterday, the horticultural assistant in the park. As I told him, as I saw him walking out of his blood yesterday, I said, no. But anyway, Ed is doing well. I believe that he submitted a letter of resignation to and know that we've done a lot in the parks at this point. Do that. You are off. You are resigning the position. You are not resigning the parks. So, does anyone want to say anything? Here, absolutely. Now, I'll say something. I've been on the board long, but almost every story I hear involves ag of some sort. I did this, I did that. So I'm personally sorry that learn more from it. It's like like losing. And of course, we still have our public comments to make all the time. Help guide us if we need it. And also, with his vast amount of experience, since his advice, sure, it's better as well. And I said it joking about us, so sincerely. Everything, especially for so long, and everything came aboard, just brought this new energy and just another way of looking at things. And then, of course, in parallel, what we've been doing with the climate crisis and whatnot, and just what can you do in your little small corner of the world, and really open my eyes to the residents species, and then just what we can do in all that in our park, and then the importance of it. When I brought my kids here, my students, and
Beverly gave a nice, wonderful lecture of it. I think I was the one that, was really interested by. And it just inspired me to want to do more. And through that process, allowed me to really get to know a fantastic staff and folks that come along. And Brian, one of those guys, we no longer have to pick up volunteer places at the post office or have police call him. But the whole experience has just been, really eye-opening. I've learned a lot. And it's been, I don't know, I've never been a place where they actually come in and do all this stuff in some ways. So anyway, it was cool to make it official. The reason why it wasn't because I wanted to. That really wasn't the thing was that I could do more. When you're not an employee, you're so limited in the kinds of ways that you can interact. And even today, it's so funny to be in a building I've been in forever and even toured it, way back when, and working with the staff, it was like I would see something totally new. Just inner workings of how people are, and it was really fun to really fun days. So that's, you guys are going to be great. So I never, all of my teaching career, committees, that's all we do. We're on committees all the time. And I've never been on one, honestly, where every time I come in, I learn something, or when people talk about an issue, I'm like, wow, I hadn't considered that. And so this has been that for me. It's always kind of fed me, and it's always been really fun. You guys have no problem. You're just fun. You're just fun. So thank you all very, very much. Travis and Bill, you're going to be great. This is a family. Hard workers and really passionate about our city. Thank you.
So I'm going to go before that because I don't want to go after her. When I came on board, city council, starting my 9 years of privately, you were actually the chair at the time. And one of the reasons I even ran for city council was because of the parts of one of my issues. And that's why I kind of pushed me to the wall and not away to see if something I choose to used to be fan parts at the time. I'm like, well, you got to share the ball, and I want parts. And it's just been such a joy to work with you. And when you talk about running from the park, I've learned so much from you, and we will continue to with you as a professional on our staff. And on behalf of the council, we're just so thrilled. And the perfect segue was yesterday in the meeting. I said, oh, by the way, I have a PARC meeting tomorrow night, and I need an answer for Ed Kastner. And they said, oh, by the way, it's his last PARC commission meeting. So it was just kind of like everything you stuff there. So things are meant to be, and we're just so thrilled that we can continue to be involved with all of them. Let's try not to cry. That's why I'm before you.
So when I started with the city, there was a Parks and Recreation Commission, and they were struggling to meet. They could not get a quorum. But there was this stalwart individual on the commission, Ed Kastner, who welcomed me, he supported me with my crazy vision of getting a commission that was regularly. But also, when you come into an agency and you have been hired to make changes, it's very difficult. And finding someone that was an ally that could see the vision and see where we wanted to go was phenomenal. And every crazy idea I brought to the commission that I didn't think was crazy, I thought it was just normal, how you run Parks and Recreation departments. Some people would just look at me like, what are you talking about? And Ed was always like right there, like, yeah, well, let's do that. So when I said I want to start weed warriors, everybody's like, well, what's that? Well, we're going to have volunteers. They're going to come help take invasive species out of the park. And a lot of people told me flat out that will never happen. No one will show up. Why are you trying to bother? You can't do the honeysuckle. And Ed has been with us with weed warriors since day one. He's brought other people. He's brought his classes. He was one of the first first school that came out and volunteered for us, and now we have so many schools that volunteer. So you have just been an amazing partner, and you were chair for so many years, and you looked at the wheels of the bus. And we would not be here today without you. And I am so appreciative. You know, the residents of all of that, you know, how, who was the change agent? And you really were one of the primary change agents. We have these amazing hiking trails in our parks that are used every single day. We get kudos. Anybody that goes on and says, these are the best things. And you were the one that created that vision. I thought it would be nice to have those one day. I didn't think we could do it. I didn't think we could do it until we had PARC. I was worried. We worked with Great Rivers Greenway, and we talked about how reticent and reluctant people are in St. Louis region to walk anywhere with trees are over their heads. And it really started me thinking that we may never get hiking trails in our parks. And Ed went out and built hiking trails in our parks single-handedly. You know, I helped step. I helped get chips. I haven't done any of this work. Jim's been out there, you know, but who has done the primary work that's been done? I have pictures of Ed's truck. I was trying to find it. I have pictures of Ed's truck completely full of wood chips. We originally started getting them from University City and driving them here. So when you need to stress on your truck, you know, you can't buy trucks. So seriously, I can't thank you enough, and on behalf of all of the residents of all of that. Thank you so much. Incredible things. And in the car, I can always say fire you from the vision because now you're on the staff. So,
Are you boss? Yeah.
but what we say to them is, he's horticultural assistant, seasonal horticultural assistant. So what that means is, when you work for the city, part-time year-round, but not exceed 29 hours a week or 1,000 hours a year, or you can be seasonal and work 40 hours a week for a season. So that is the 40 hours a week. Wants full board through our business. So I can't even imagine what it's going to look like at the end of the summer to have two Bryans, basically. Because Brian has just been this phenomenal horticulturist for coming in 2 years. He has changed the face of our parks. And now he's got Ed, and between the two of them, he's been helping Brian all along volunteering. But now, I'm so excited to see that.
Thank you.
And I will do what we want. To say, I left out that you have been an example to me in terms of we work, that's where I plugged into the parks. And in terms of what you have done in terms of being an example. I know from my granddaughter's example, you are has been like.
So Sue, you can't go anywhere. Sue was Ed's cohort doing the, when we started the crazy idea of having the first master. Sue and Ed were out there. Sue and Ed wants to do the inventory of every park amenity before we get a master plan. So that was the really hot summer.
And the trail.
And we're stuck with it. Couple times I'm like, yeah, it's a public that's funny. I heard we did stuff, we're like, that is nothing.
We're just doing it.
They were just gonna fill the fence right. I said, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Long agenda tonight, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We will say, right,
I'll see you Monday.
I'll see you tomorrow.
We're buying next week.
And happy birthday tomorrow.
I know, I'm not
Monday.
Okay. Thank you.
I baked a cake for all the staff, each staff birthday. I started that in the pandemic. Probably won't get moved much longer to get to the staff.
That's right. That's right. He started today. He started today and it was.
Yeah, so council, the city manager's office will advertise. I think that was.
Yeah.
When we were advertising, it could be, people would be able to bring about that.
Council decides, council will decide.
We might appoint, one, otherwise we'll open it for it.
I didn't look at the roster to see where he is in his, term. I would be, that's an unexpired term. Yeah.
No, it's in the trial.
So did I hear from the comments that Bill, you were on today?
I was the former DA, I don't think.
No, you were saying the following footsteps.
Oh, yes.
You and,
I'll see if you can.
you're gonna be the trail, you're gonna be,
You
no, I'm
brought
looking for someone to do trail. I'm looking for someone to do trail work.
You know, we can talk about it, I've never done trail work, but what I was gonna say,
I've never done homicide, so. But, yeah, we call it the hospital trail, but it's, COVID trail.
Yes, so it's a.
Okay, let us move on. Record, please.
Oh, sorry. You have the, can you help on if that's.
It is, it is. And no, Keisha is not on.
Okay, so director's report, we have, baseball wrapping up on the 21st, fingers crossed. And micro baseball will finish on the 6th of June. With 100 first kids in the league, 12 teams, and 18 in the micro program. All soccer is open, and people are really happy that it's open this early. So Clayton's is also open early, so we're gonna help us out, particularly this year because the games are all gonna shift to Worcester this year. So, actually, no, I apologize. I think it's Stacy this year. The bathrooms at Stacy. Parking lot and bathrooms. Summer camp, we are moving along with our registration. We still have some space available. I've been out of the office this week on vacation, so I'm not sure. Have you seen an uptick since?
Yeah.
Okay. So the city of St. Anne did not have camp during the pandemic. And this year, when they started creating their camp, they could not hire staff. So the Parks and Rec director called and asked, could they send our camp information out to their residents? So they emailed all the residents or notified all the previous camp families about our camps in Overwood, Fairleigh Heights and other places. We take residents in our residents, so we'll probably have some signatures. A lot of kids that live in St. Anne, their parents work and all of that, so it's a nice, it'll be a nice, strong program. We can't, this is the last year it's going to be in the community center. And during the camp this summer, the new rec coordinator, Jill, who we met, is going to be doing some work with parents in small focus groups to kind of look at next year, because we still have not decided how camp is going to look with the new facility. We know it cannot be the way it is now. Right now, we've got an abundance of rooms. The kids are outside the camp and crafts, or when it's super hot or rainy. Prior to that, the camp is out at Stacy Park. So we'll be looking at it again. We do not want to go back to the time of when Stacy Park was 100 kids from age 4 to 14. That's not a good model. So we need to find something different. So the first place to start is with our customers. So we talk to the parents whose kids are in our program. most of our, campers are residents, that's like, we were providing 8% for residents, is that right, Tom? So, that's where we really want to start, to really say, help shape how it's going to go. I think there can be some camps in the new center, but not 100%. We just won't, if we've got these ongoing programs that we don't have now, we don't have. So we'll have a new, we'll have some sort of.
All right, so like, when, in this case, like, see, so you have a park, and they, there's a park, you know, do they help like with some of the funding, like if they, like with a large group of kids, which would be great, you know, but then we don't have the staff, do they assist?
Well, we
them?
didn't increase our numbers. We still have our set number,
Okay.
and they didn't pay the full price.
Okay,
So, can't we do back the cost of the fees?
okay, so it's self-sustaining.
It's self-sustaining.
Okay.
So self-sustaining in direct costs, not indirect costs. So for the camp staff, they have the supplies to cover it. It doesn't cover the full-time staff and the building or anything else. But, so we won't lose money, we'll actually, gain a little bit, you know, and then we'll do this. We started our registration several months ago, so they're not going to try to.
Two questions. One, saying you have a ten out of non-resident rates.
We don't do non-resident for campus or
Okay.
sports because of the school district. Because our catchment area is the school district, and our kids go to these schools, and if their friends are, like, particularly for sports, if the class is coming from a new school, odds are there's a lot of the residents or P4 residents or Frontenac residents in that class, and we didn't want to have to split with those things on there. So that's the way those two things are. Our adult kids are all in the basic.
And I always know this, but point was municipal.
Municipals.
Oh, municipals, okay.
Municipals is the camp that was created last year. It's at the end of the summer after Camp O is finished, and it's where kids get an up close look at municipal operations. So they sign up for a week and they get to be police officers, sworn in as officers. They get firefighters. They go out to public works and do all sorts of engineering. They did the MIT version of the MIT background last year. They got to watch Dawn get arrested. That was pretty exciting. They did a playing segment actually that was pretty cool, where they were said, hey, there's this piece of land. Who's going to develop it? What do you want it to be? And they were in small groups and they had to come up with plans and present to their peers. And oddly enough, they put that in something.
Shocking.
So, yeah.
It runs in the family.
So, yeah, it's a great camp. It's a great camp. We modeled it, the police department actually started it, and of course, it said, we do this. I said, yes, I think it happened. So, Dawn did it last year, and it was fantastic.
What's the news?
It's the first week of August, so it's after our regular meeting. So, we did a full report on it last year, so if you want to say.
Okay.
Okay, so all of it in bloom, after a 2-year hiatus, pent-up demand occurred in this room. For the first time, the plant sale was inside, and they sold over 725 million plants. Phenomenal. And they loved it so much that we want to come back here next year. Normally, it takes place in Safety Park, and it's very much when it rains, they don't turn out.
You also pulled out very fast.
Yeah, they sell out very fast. Yeah, you have to be there at 9 a.m. or you will not get a good selection. They do a phenomenal job, and you can ask an expert. A lot of people are aware of the gardeners, naturalists. They have a lot of plant scientists in their group, so you can really say, hey, I've got this area that's dry shade, and I can't water it. And they'll say, oh, well, here's 3 plants that are working. This is how big they'll be, and this is how far apart. They're phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I think it's one of the best native concepts, because I go to a lot of them, and this one I'm always really impressed. their workdays are back up and going, and they'd love to see you all out on the workdays. They need more volunteers, so if you have neighbors that don't know about all of it, please spread the word. They have an 18 volunteer force. They need to work with them.
And it's the first weekend of the
The
month.
first weekend of,
Saturday.
first Saturday of the month, from April through October. And they are so nice. It's 2 quick hours. You don't need any skills at all. They're super friendly. This year, they're only working at the community center and at the Stacy Pond. Because although the veterans is getting very close to being installed. In fact, I had to drive by it. Did anything happen while I was there?
Yeah.
Things are delivered.
The pump is in the ground. The pump and the basin.
Yeah.
When I walked by there yesterday,
That's one way to go.
I mean, it's,
Then that happened after we had driven by it, because all of a sudden the rocks were there, and we're like, okay, keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it.
Okay, so we'll have an sidebar conversation later. I'm not sure about it. Rock.
yeah, but they
No,
had the basin in there and the pump was sitting there. I don't think it's hooked up or anything. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
in
it has
the
to
ground.
be inspected.
So
So
as of 4 o'clock, or 4:30 yesterday.
They cleaned up the debris.
that's awesome. So, just too much information
Okay.
is part of the agenda, just so you guys know. We'll be in there. We have to take over care of that, so I want to make sure Leonard knows how it operates. Awesome. We are in our busiest season, so bathrooms are open at Herbside and at Villa. Herbside will shut down around the first week of July. They are out, repairing all the picnic tables, everything, even though a lot of the parks are in construction, all this work has to be done. So we're going to take this opportunity to start freshening up the restaurants that aren't getting renovated, we're going to get new soap dispensers.
Whatever you say, Bill, I think it's Indian Meadows on the other side.
Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
Indian Meadows restaurants are open. Yes, I apologize. We're working on, power out of Riverside, it's a problem. I want you to see this photo here. This is one of the plants planted last year. This is the first blooms of Iowa Buckeye. The other thing I thought would be good for you to see is the Parks crew does a lot of stuff that you wouldn't really think about. So, for example, they're in charge of all the storm drains inside the parks. The storm drains on the edges of the parks are MSD. The storm drains inside the parks are privately owned, by the city. So this is the storm drain right on the sidewalk in front of the community center. And it had many years worth of debris inside, so they had to dig it all out. And then they had to rebuild it and cement it in, re-brick it, put the concrete in. And they did all this in a day. So they're amazing, and I'm just not sure everybody understands, the depth of what's required to work in the park. So I think it's nice for them to give it a shot. Because some people think they just put the bathrooms and, the grass, and that is absolutely not what we do. So, we are very lucky. One of the challenges of the operations over the last several years is that bringing the workforce and success. So, Leonard Merle and I are all the exact same age, and Leonard had his 35th anniversary this evening. So succession planning is a big thing in the department. There's a lot of institutional knowledge here. So with the construction in the parks, the foreman out at Stacy, when they are trying to figure things out, they call Leonard. Like, we think there's a water line here. The map's showing us this. Our sensors are showing us this. What do you know? And then Leonard's going to say, well. So, that is really important knowledge. And how do you capture that? How do you think this is known? I thought it would be great for you to kind of see something here. So some of you have had handed this. This is the backside of Stacy Pond, where all the honeysuckle has been cleared and it's been reseeded. You have new trees in there. There's a new pathway that goes around it. And it is just absolutely magical back there. If you get a chance to walk out there, please do. It is so beautiful. People love this area of the park, and they love to sit, and, the pond is beautiful, I came home today, my water was completely, I got it will be soon, yeah, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. This is an older section, so you can really see, this is the backside of the pond, this is sunny, it's beautiful, it's a perfect time to go see that. These are the pictures you saw in the winter time that Brian was just starting to build this rock wall, now you can really see it. So this is the habitat we're putting in for all of the invertebrates and amphibians and reptiles, so they really have good homes and a shelter, which is really important. We hired a sports specialist, Adam Richfighter. He started 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah. He's a freshman at Lindenwood University. He's a sports management major, and he is fun. People like him. He just much more mature than he is. He's very polite and knowledgeable, and it's great. We have really been having some remarkable hires, and I cannot wait to meet our team supervisors who start work on Monday. They will be at the June meetings for you to meet them, and now I told you last week they got, I told you last time they got, now I'm actually telling you they are. So Marvin Kerber is the new recreation program supervisor, and to the city's credit, we revamped our fee structure. So we really, with the agency struggling to find candidates, we were incredibly lucky. Marvin has been the director of Delaware for a long time, so very experienced. Before that, he was director of Matthew Staten's program director at Matthew Staten's stuff. So incredibly well connected in the region, and I am just thrilled that he is coming to work with us. He will be a remarkable asset to our department, and he's very excited to join the team. He's been watching all of that. When we go to I go to the meetings with all the other department directors, and so I've met him there, and he's thrilled to come here. So we are incredibly fortunate. Our other supervisor, the guest experience supervisor, is Melinda Steitzel, and she is making a career change from the collegiate world. She has been an education and trainer for University of Illinois.
That's how you.
Yes, okay. So she has a remarkable experience with working with young people and training them. She's done a lot of projects, a lot of volunteer work as well. So she is a dynamite as with this experience. So we have this amazing team, and both the names start with them. We've been calling them we don't know if that will continue. So
Find out Monday,
yeah, we'll find out, but we don't know.
because we're putting M&Ms on their desk.
So we are just, we're so excited, and I'm so excited for you to be there too. What was it? A guest experiences supervisor. And recreation program. And you'll get through this. These are the first 2 new hires that are directly working for the community. They are going to be incredibly busy this summer. We're calling it sort of like looking for a startup, because it's very fast paced. They're crammed in these tiny offices, and they're developing policies and procedures for things that haven't started yet. So, and then they're going to be ramping up with hiring as we get into the fall. So it's a very exciting time. All right, and Don moved out of his office, so we will both Don is now in breaker. So it truly is like working for a start.
So I see Ed and Brian.
Room 6, room 6.
Yeah.
I got one question. I walked over to Washington Park the other day, and there's a ton of party stands behind the dumpster area. Are those going back? Those are all from what? Are those going back?
They're from multiple parks.
Okay.
They're from
Those
multiple
are
parks.
all from Warren.
No,
No.
they're not all from Warsaw. No, but you know from the for you have one.
Oh, I know, but I thought,
And
Probably we're gonna leave out, so.
we are going to, what we're doing is, we're doing a triage, and we're actually going to, we have to find out if we have this, people require some. But we were successful with our recovery services grant, so we will be getting new customers.
So this is basically somebody now,
That's our stock.
but hopefully they're not going to that.
There probably will be some places where they will be out of, in kind of, from the architecture we're doing, or if we're doing a project area, but we don't want to get rid of them yet. No, they're not. So, yeah, our parks, and it involved in our parks, we have a series of different ones, so we're trying to get like everything. Here is our soccer, I just love this, I just love this. Our soccer football is so cute. That is my preference.
Does anybody have any more questions? One question real quick, and I know everybody's probably doing this, with the new soccer league, club starting in St. Louis. And we tried to reach out and see if their PR or,
That would be one of the things the supervisor's doing. Don actually gets a lot of information from them already. They have not started their community outreach yet. We know they'll have some, and we are gonna have our hand up. Yeah. So-
They've only signed 2 players so far. So.
that's all we need.
We need a goal and something to get the right.
Yeah, I'm very excited because, when in my, previous, region where I worked, I was working when the Sharks, created, business expansion hockey.
Is there a hockey team that
So they did an amazing program before their first game called Sharks in the Parks, where they went out into parks all over the Bay Area for free, to kind of build the brand, but also it was interesting ice hockey in the place where, So I'm really excited with what they come up with the soccer team. I'm trying to understand.
The stadium just got their grass laid down yesterday. So
Thank you very much.
it does.
Next, city council report.
So I'll start with Saturday. Saturday is open house, obviously, you saw it on the front door. Open house is a new fire truck, which is beautiful. But, there's gonna be hot dogs and food, and there's gonna be basket houses, if you have children. And, it's from 11 to, and just as commission members, it's nice to, do the festivities and some people who then, who have volunteers and doing volunteer state. And just the interview, we'll have manifest and all of that. And then also, Dave Wolf, I was everyone in that meeting at the city hall, this is a conference meeting. He is retiring as of and, so, and, we wish him the best, and, we announced soon, looking about the transition. And then, for the staff meeting last week, we had the second reading to discuss permit fees for, 1220 North Price, is for, not anything on new road horizons, and we just have to move into our blood, they cultivate marijuana, and there was a lot of discussion. We had 9 people speak during the hearing, the public hearing, and we have, instead of voting anything, we have continued the conversation so that we listen to people and the council that taking notice from the concerns and we're going back and getting more information. And, moving forward in the marketing direction of the also voted, late that night, the county voted, I believe it's almost 11:20, about, Tuesday to the very end, and Bill was on Zoom to the very end. But they did vote on the name with the 5 votes for endorsement, and it did pass. It was exciting. And then we also had 2 happy weeks for the council in the past month. One was a Saturday afternoon from 12 to 5:30, actually till 6. And then last week we measured from 8:30 to 12 again. And we worked with the group that helped us, look at some of the things with the conference and where we want to go, and some of the internal and external goals of the council. Which will, I'm not sure who's going to be writing in the next part, which is a committee, but, we're headed in some new direction, but as you can see, we drive down our, things are happening, so. And I drive by the Veterans Memorial every morning, and I'm always like, okay, what's that? I just probably just started hearing from it. So, but it's looking good, and, any questions?
Congratulations on that.
Is that happening last meeting?
Yeah,
I guess so.
So much has happened.
So much is happening.
Okay, the next thing is to talk about, which needs for the new community center. I'll tee it up and then we can have some discussion. There's a subgroup of this that we have periodically, Rob, Keisha, and myself.
It's usually done in the.
She is not on.
But what, to look at it, and primarily we have, as commission members, we did some of the market research on the focus of the other municipalities charging, and trying to look and make sense around what we don't want to undercharge, but we don't want to overcharge. And so we're looking at that. So, in terms of doing that, once we got the community, equivalents, what we're doing, turn it back over to staff, make a recommendation, because there's a lot more experience in that. And I think if I can turn it over to Beverly, kind of discuss some of the elements of why, sort of the background, how we do things, and how we make sure that we
I do want to state that your attachments, there were supposed to be 3 attachments, we don't have. I'm going to show you one attachment on from the cloud, and then I'll email it all to you afterwards, the e-coms from the other. So I'll start off with when the city embarked on building the new center, it reaffirmed that in the process of designing, building, and operating a new center, that it would follow the same 5 key principles of the master plan, and that is connectivity, innovation, partnership, sustainability, and financial responsibility. So that is what we brought into our fee discussion as well, to make sure that we cognizant of that, as well as the mission of the department, which is to create community for people, parks, and programs. And with our mission, we also have our mission statement that talks about ensuring participation for people regardless of their income level or other barriers that we have. So our mission in the Parks and Recreation Department is to not only offer wonderful parks and engaging programs and engage people in things like that, but also removing the barriers to participation, because there are a lot of barriers for people who participate in any program, and that we need to know what they are, and identify them, and 2, we need to figure out ways to really remove those barriers. So we talked a little bit about that in the fee report, because it's important to kind of remember what are the barriers we're talking about. So in coming up with our fee recommendation, the group looked at, first of all, the performance and validating that was done about the feasibility study of the new center, which is kind of a baseline. It was very effective as trying to figure out what size community center we could do, kind of what the basic operating cost would be. And it was very helpful to do that for the bond measure. Now it's dated because it's from 2018. We've had a pandemic, we've had all sorts of other things happening. So we are now moving forward. Thankful that we had that, but we really had to kind of look at it more in depth or set our own. We looked at the city's benchmark cities. So benchmark cities are cities that are structured like all of that. They have the same structure for taxing, for their general fund, for the operations, with a city manager and with a city council. Because it doesn't do us any good to compare with a city that maybe has a casino or doesn't have a city manager form of government or has a city council that doesn't have structure. So those are our benchmarks. But then we also look at our neighboring cities because our residents go to our neighboring cities, and then also our neighboring cities residents come to us. So we looked at all of them rather than just the benchmark cities. And we wanted to be right in the mix. We did not want to do more than that. We did not want to be substantially lower than that. We wanted to be right kind of on par with them. We also looked at the JCC, so the J, because they are very close to us. A lot of our residents belong to the J, but it's a completely different animal. And that became very apparent when we got the fees and found out what they charge. So we will not be charging anywhere close to what the J charges. But we don't have the same programs. You know, we're not apples to apples if you compare that. And one of the big things we also looked at is a lot of these operations in other cities have pools. We don't have a pool. But we have things they don't have. So that's exciting. You know, it's exciting for us to say, hey, we have an indoor playground. No other community center in the central corridor has. We have a teaching kitchen. None of the other ones have one either. And we have our we have a parents' room that people don't have. Another one, and esports. We're going to be the first purpose-built esports node in the region. Now, way out west in Wentzville, we're apparently money. They have a center. We're going to open shortly for about 4 hours, and they will have esports in it. So we're still. So with our fees, what we want to talk about is that these fees are a starting point for us. They are a way for us to open the center. We don't have a fitness center to compare operation costs or compare membership costs. The best we can do is look at similar sized operations, and we have made our best guess as to how much the staffing is going to be. We negotiated a lease agreement, so we know the equipment costs. So as we start to look at these fees, this is what we're doing the first year. And, you know, we will continue to reassess those fees. So each year we'll come back to the commission and say, hey, this was our revenue this year. These were our expenditures. What do you think about our fees? And the same thing with the council. So every year we kind of look at it and say, this is where we are. Are we in the right spot? Do we need to increase fees or decrease? So this is what we're doing right now is just for our very first year.
One thing, if I can,
Sure.
neglected to say, is one, I know that Beverly has worked with Darren and Ann on this in terms of what one would be financially responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
And secondly, the commission makes a recommendation to the council. We can say, here's what we think it should be, and the council actually has to find it. It's a final say, so what we guys think.
That's correct. That's
So,
right.
so I just wanted to.
Yeah. So the working group, which I probably should have said, it was myself and Jim and Rob Herman, Keisha Lee, and Darren Mann, finance director. So we were all working on this together. So the room rates in the city were completely overhauled in 2015. And the rooms of the new facility are of similar size and similar structure, with the exception of the gym. So we are pretty much adopting similar room rates. There are slight changes because we have rooms that are in the new center that we don't have in the old center. And the multi-purpose room, we didn't have it all, we had a gym. And again, our gym is bigger. So these are the fees that we are recommending for the rentals of the new facility. So the small multi-purpose room, so if you can remember the gym, the multi-purpose room is divided into 3 sections with removable walls, very much like this one. However, we have a value engineer out on the walls. Because with the cost increases to pandemic supply, some things in there really accelerated the cost. So we had to make a difficult decision to not put in the second wall. However, all of the structure is there for it. So we will build a capital project in the future to put that wall in. So the framing is going to be for it, the electrical outlets are there for it, all the things that we just won't be very clear. So what we're doing, instead of having 3 parts of that multi-purpose room, we'll have 2 parts. And think of it as thirds. So one side will be kind of a third of the size, the other side will be about 2/3 of the size. So that is why you'll see one's called small and one's called large. For our mapping internally, there are going to be rooms A, B, and C, but in the beginning, they'll just be A and B in our software. So you'll rent either A, the smaller, or the large one, or you'll rent them all together. And they will have to decide whether the software is all together in C or D, depending on how we want to add that. So you see the small, the large, and then the combined costs, which are straight wash share. The resident and non-resident fees are roughly 50% difference. So if you do the math of it, you'll see some of them are 47 and some of them are 55, but the majority of them are 50, just because we wanted to have the 5 or 0 on each one. I didn't want to do like 47, 45, or however much. Okay, so you'll see all those, our damage deposit is staying exactly the same. This is the money that we take when you reserve it, to hold on to it, and then we pay it back to you if the room is preventable and we left it and took the trash out. And clearly it's not enough to cover major damage. That's what our police department does. They work with detectives and if someone purchases damage, we have that structure already. But what this damage deposit does is it also allows us that if someone is having their event and they're scheduled to end at 3, and they suddenly realize that there's no way they can get out by 3, they can sign a form with the facility attendant that allows them to waive their damage deposit and have it at the town, so that covers that for them. And that does happen. People don't always, people are not event planners, so sometimes they're doing their own event. Forgot to have to clean up, or they have not got the cake for the weather section. So that's it. Now we will have packages that combine these things. So if you are renting everything in the kitchen, there'll be incentives in there, and that will be determined by the staff. That's my recommendation, is to not try and come up with all those scenarios ahead of time, but that will be fleshed out as the staff develop the room rental market program, similar to what we do now. However, you'll see it before it's implemented. And I'm pretty excited about that. We have already, we'll be having a preferred caterers list of different tiers, so that we'll have caterers in there that will rent the space and clean it, authorize ahead of time. So we're really trying to do as much foresight as we can about the operations. Now here we have, and Maxine's not here, but one of the things we're going to be doing is for big party packages that Maxine's been very excited about. Now here's the membership program. Again, we want to be kind of aligned with what everybody else around us is doing, even knowing that we don't have a clue. But we do have other things, and we don't want to be too low. So these are our recommendations. So this is an annual cost. You can see this, for those of you that participated in the J or some of the more high-end clubs in town, this is. And it's yet to be determined what exactly the membership gives you. That's something that the guest experience supervisor and the recreation supervisor will be working on. That's one of the first things they have to do. So there will be things included in this, and then there will be things that cost addition. Or there may be things that as a member you can participate in for a lower rate. One of the things we're looking at right now is less skills, which is pretty exciting. So we have some other exciting classes and programs in there. Other things to think about in this, a family is something that the working group really discussed to figure out what is a family. We don't want to have just a cookie cutter approach to this. We wanted it to really be flexible and really embrace what modern families look like. So that's why it's the family is defined as 2 adults and up to 3 children living in the same home. That's not going to be to show us the tax returns or the marriage certificates or anything. We have had conversations about what happens if you have 4 kids. And at this point, I'd like to have a recommendation from the staff that will be managing this program for them to start talking to other centers how they do it. And then they'll come up with a suggestion. Again, I don't want to put that into the street right now. So that's really, I really want to make sure that we have a really easy template to follow, and then some of those other details that we can work out. So I touched on a little bit about access to all. So there are 3 primary barriers to participation in all of that, and I apologize. Okay, so the language, transportation, and finances are 3 of the barriers that have been identified through the Parks Master Plan for residents of all of that. And we really have to take a close look at that to make sure that we understand the nuances of it, and that we have good practices in place to help with those barriers. So financial barrier is one that there's very interesting research around this. So, for example, seniors are often given preferential pricing. You see in our fees that we have a senior fee there. However, if you talk to economists and people that specialize in pricing, who is doing really well in American society right now? It's seniors. Seniors are wealthier than they've ever been. They have discretionary income. One of the big examples of this is the national parks. So for seniors that go to the national park, you can have a senior pass, lifetime pass, you get in for an incredibly low amount, and everything within the park is reduced for you. However, who are the seniors that go to the national parks? They are white. So who doesn't need that discount? White wealthy seniors. But they're the ones that get the highest incentive to participate in the national parks. Who needs that break? Working class families. First of all, they probably can't afford to get to that park, and then if they do get to that park, they don't get any discount. So it really is, it's something that's entrenched in American society, is that seniors get discounts. Now, in all of that, we do have seniors that are not working. We do have seniors that struggle to pay for their medications, that struggle to pay for their housing. So I think it's legitimate in all of that. If we were a different community, I would strongly lobby that we have a much smaller break for seniors. However, it's political suicide to say we're not going to have discounts because vote solid voting block. You always have to take that, but you know what the financial reality is versus what's going to be popular with the residents. So we're going to have a senior discount, absolutely, and it will benefit our residents, and I think it's appropriate. But I do think it's an interesting thing for us to think about when it comes to pricing, because those are the things that we're trying to do. So one way that we currently address income disparity and all of that is we offer differential pricing. What that means is that if we offer it for our camps and our sports right now. And the way we do it is okay, but it's not good. So what I'd like us to do with our new center is go from okay to good. And with the staff we have coming on, I think that it will allow us to get there because it's a little bit more labor intensive. So what happens right now is if you are on free or reduced lunch, you receive a discount, a fee waiver for our camps. So if you are on reduced lunch, you get 50% off. If you're on free lunch, you're 75% off. Only ask that you show us the benefit card or the letter from the school authorizing the free lunch. If your kids aren't in school yet, you can show the WIC card or some sort of government system card. Now, the reason I say that that's okay is that we're not asking for credit tax returns, which the city used to do back in the day, which is horrific. I do not want anyone on my staff having any access to anyone's income. But we also have programs that are already in place. So the school and the USDA programs are already doing that better for us. What it makes it okay is, as opposed to great, is that families have to ask. And that is a problem because that automatically provides it's an opportunity for stigma, for embarrassment. And so we do know that we have families that participate in our programs as a struggle. Absolutely. And we're unable to get free lunch in our camps because of the way it's operated. What I like to do is for people to automatically get that discount without having to ask for it. So when you look at best practices that are recommended by the National Parks and Recreation Association and by other social services, what they say is get your information to the people that are distributing. So for example, if we have vouchers that gave people that were already qualified, when they get their assistance from the school, they get a voucher that when they come to register, they just show it as a coupon, the staff processes it, and then it takes away a lot of that stigma. So that is a practice that a lot of communities do. And I think with our ramping up our staffing and then building relationships with the schools, that automatically is something that we can do that we really can't do that right now without staff. The other thing that's talked about in best practices is that some of the people that can benefit the most from having a place with free Wi-Fi, a place to sit with your laptop, someone who is so someone who's been laid off or has been fired, someone who that's one of the biggest hits we can take in American society is dementia. And that's someone that needs a community center community. So, and that's also someone that's not going to come in and say, I just lost my job. So how do you reach that component of the society that impacts could be anybody in all of that who suddenly loses their job? And that is if we have relationships with employers and with the unemployment offices. So if someone comes in and they're going to get unemployment for the first time, and they see, oh, you live in all of that, here's about the community center. So they can come in at a reduced rate and use the workout facility, use the free Wi-Fi, whatever it is. So that's where we really come into play as a community center, a true community center. We are really helping our residents who need it the most. And there's been a lot of research about this. So it's a way that someone can have dignity and can have that benefit. But it also means that we don't have to super reduce our prices because we want our prices to be where they are. And we want them to be realistic for the people that can pay them. We have a lot of people that can pay them, but we have people that may not be able to do it all the time. So that's where if we have assistance there, we don't have to artificially reduce the cost of our services. And that is sometimes it's not the way people think about, well, we've got, like, for example, I and I use Florissant, as an example, there are some cancer. But artificially, the city is super supporting those programs because they're afraid their residents can't afford it. Well, there are residents that can afford it and residents that can't. But the artificially low wants to cover subsidy. So here's a way that we can keep our programs at a steadier pace. So we're not subsidizing them so much, but then we can really help the people there. So that's a part of the way we've done things in the past. So I really want to hear from the rest of the group. Your thoughts on that.
75% is reimbursement available.
There's not, not for us.
To offset the funds that.
Sometimes we're within the city, exactly. None of our programs in the city of Olivet are fully cost effective. Right now, we currently only offer them for youth sports and fitness. So seniors that can take our programs, they're artificially low. So for senior exercise, it's $4 a class. And that's the price to spend forever. Actually, the price to spend for that is $3 a class. And the instructor gets a percentage of that. So the instructors get paid a pittance because there's not very many people in there. We can't bring that model to the community. So those seniors are gonna have to go. They're gonna have to go in the finish line. But they'll get a lot more than that single class. So
So there's two questions that are discussed. Number one, Wi-Fi is one, and you said that they will use walking to use Wi-Fi, or
yes, yes.
so there's no fee. If someone uses Wi-Fi, because they're looking for web, they have to go with the Wi-Fi. You can just walk in and use it, you don't have to join at all.
You won't. That's right.
So are we gonna, I guess, or not?
Yeah,
So that would, that's not part of that price.
it does.
Because there's no fee, it's right.
There's no fees associated with that, but there are fees with everything else. So someone that wants to work out, and they're gonna have to have permission. Now, I'm not saying that the discounts are 50 and 75%. I'm just saying that's what we're doing right now with camps and with youth sports. And we see a different discussion on what those discounts would mean. And that's not the side tonight. Tonight, I want to hear from you. Are you in support of doing something like that?
So, yeah, so two things. I think I'll learn at some point, probably not to them. So, how hard would it be? Like, when I was at work, I was doing state assistant and women. But it runs for a certain number of weeks or months, depending, right? So if you just simply showed that you were on system, could we not say that for that, just for that short period, you would have access to the workout facility?
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. But I think that when you sign up to get that state assistance card, that's when I think you should be told, hey, you can use this in all of that.
Yeah, so is there a way, so here's the other point, I was mentioning that. Do we have access to this role that showed up?
I do not. I don't know if someone in this
So this
city
is
hall does. I don't know.
So this is sitting in a list. You know, of course, I would need 61 to 2. Make it a list of everything currently on.
Well, that's the sticking point too. It's 6102
But
goes
I'm
far
just-
beyond all of
Well, but I'm
it.
saying, this is where I get covered the street or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that obviously,
I don't know.
it is public record, I mean, but yeah, when I was getting assistance, it wasn't open to the public, but it was on the state. Remember, Tim had a lot of capacity.
But I will ask, that I'll start with planning, they may know, but you know, we don't have, social workers, I don't even know if it needs to be that. So I can ask,
Yeah, so.
but we may not sure. State collects a lot of information.
That's true, but what I'm saying is, they could easily tell you if you apply for assistance, supply this code or whatever.
Yes, that's what we'd like. We'd like to have that relationship so that when you do apply for this.
So you said, here's my code,
Yeah.
and you guys can tell me. Yeah, you can tell it, right, if they're actually producing. But I will tell you, you'll apply if you want. And you will apply if you don't. I mean, I'm gonna have to, depending on, I would qualify for most of it, but you not, but you have access to free classes at the library.
Yes.
There's a ton of services
Yes.
that I've never doing that you,
Yes.
guys
And,
are.
yes, exactly, and that's what we're talking about, that we could be one of those things, but they're given to, like, the things that you receive for as a county resident or whatever, so how do we tailor it so it's for all of our residents?
Yeah, so that, you live in whatever.
And we're not talking about a lot of people, but we are talking about a way that, we really want to make sure that we're there when people need us the most. And people need us the most.
I'll be honest with you, laughing, maybe I was just about opening a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But I know one of the things that some people are against the most is that there's free Wi-Fi, right? So you could go up there if you were in a foreign trade and you can hop on the free Wi-Fi. Well, the other place that I told a lot of my neighbors was
Yes, and we have people in there frequently that are unemployed, and some people are very embarrassed to ask. They're very embarrassed. Can I sit here on my iPad? Absolutely.
well, so yeah, I probably some stuff around here. That, it's not even a government thing, but it's like, what if your Wi-Fi out? You short funds for the month.
Well, we see that a lot. We see kids, particularly from the condos, they form up, and sometimes their parents come to and use our Wi-Fi. They foreclose, they're out there on benches in front. So we definitely see that.
So and the other question is solar treatment.
Yes.
So are we?
Yeah, well, so we're gonna try, so, this is probably more information you need. Social Sneakers is an insurance program. So as you can imagine, it's operated, they're an insurance company. They will not tell us yet if they would be in our center. But we're trying, and there's more than Social Sneakers, there's you keep forgetting Mercy.
School Mercy.
Yeah, there are Silver Sneakers, everybody knows because it's a catchphrase, trademark, but there are other ones that are done as well. And the other thing that happens is, the other thing that people don't know about Silver Sneakers is you only get it if you pay extra for your benefit. You have to be on a certain plan.
Yeah.
Something, one does something else, so not everybody.
There's a number of insurance departments now.
There are.
That
We're gonna try for all of them.
that have a health benefit. And so I don't know if it's one of them.
Well, they're all.
Renew active.
That's it, renew active. So we are absolutely working hard to get this. Okay. They will not play ball with us yet. And they look at the region, and if there's one that's in too close proximity to you, they'll say no. So they won't tell us that. They will not tell us. And getting information out of them has been, it's like,
I know we were talking about it months ago, and I didn't see it after that.
no, because that would be a program. That would be a program.
Now, is that something that student hire will?
Yeah, but that'll probably also involve the city manager and the city
Sure,
attorney as well, because it is. I have circular conversations when I talk,
Yes.
and it is, they're
No.
incredibly frustrating.
Go ahead. It seems to me that it makes perfect sense. Maybe in some process and applications to students. Everybody gets those.
Yeah.
And that's department. Those are all natural funds.
And this grew out of a conversation we had in the working group, they started saying these things, they said, well, people are having to do it. So that's really what started this conversation, is that if we offer this for kids, we should be offering this in the field. And will we get a lot of takers? Probably not, but I do think that we need the structure in place. And the other thing I write in here is that our front desk staff have to be trained on how to do it. There's nothing worse than being insensitive. And that's part of our customer service, is that we need to be incredibly sensitive. And do it in that,
Just a couple things. One, I think, kind of an overriding principle of this is friction. Second thing is, in my mind, what are we going to provide for no pay? So, no cost, no additional cost.
yes, yes.
And so, I mean, we talked about the coffee, we talked about Wi-Fi. So I think we need to codify that as well.
We will, and that happens when we start building the program.
Yeah, it's
Because,
just
yeah.
part of the same discussion.
Because we're gonna have there's gonna be another discussion around teams too. Because when you've got the youth curriculum, what does that entail? Because right now, kids play basketball for free at the community center after school. And that's a really important service that we do, particularly for middle schoolers when they get off the bus. So how does that work with the new center? We make them pay $4 every single day. I don't think we should. The team programs, we need to start charging for team. So, you know, there's a benefit to middle schoolers being occupied for school. There's a lot less graffiti, a lot less vandalism, things that happen when there's a place for them to go. If we have a very specific time for it, and then they're out, then that's fine too. But I think we'll come to you with that after we get the supervisor on board and start building the program.
That's all it is, right? They show this for yes, open for free.
Well, the gym, right, so yeah, you can go completely basketball, but also then what else are we gonna do? We can't go in the fitness room because they're too young, so that's easy. They can't go in the indoor playground because they're too old, so what's gonna happen? They're gonna congregate and they're gonna signal out. And we are gonna have to be aware of that, because there will be times whenever you have a mixed age group population, wherever middle schoolers are, you get incredible pushback from the other residents. I say this as my first job in my career was over the community center, but they wanted to also be senior center. So, it's very difficult. So there are things staff will have to be aware of, and we have to be watching our costs. So we really want them there, it's important, but it also can't negatively impact. Pardon me?
Some kids go to the gym and other kids hanging out.
Yeah, but if it's in the lobby, if it's a hang up, it's a home school. I mean, there's kids, they're all over the place. Yeah. And they have now figured out how to get the property doors open. So Don's got to take some
Resourceful.
So there's some other things about access that you want.
Yes, yes.
Just
So,
briefly.
very briefly, so we put money in the budget next year for, language to start getting some translations going in some of our programs. They won't necessarily bring everybody, because there's another element to that, we have to understand what people want, but that initial step, if people see it in their own language, is one of the first bridges we can build. Transportation, this is an incredibly hard barrier to overcome in this region. So this is a vision item for us, it's a vision goal, this is not something we can address right away. But the working group, Rob Feuerman, pointed out exactly where we do have buses right on Wilson. We know the Grandview ones who's probably already, people that work for us with it. And then, I didn't know that there was one right by the community center, like possibly there is one. So that is fantastic. So when we put out our materials, we can put the bus route on the materials to help people out. And then the other thing is we have a list on here of who our current users are. So this has never really been codified with the city. We do believe that the city, previous city manager and city council, back in the midst of time, approved of the theater. When I started here, the Boy Scouts were getting free use, and I extended it to the Girl Scouts because that was completely unfair. The Hughes School District uses the Stacy Pavilion for free. They haven't used our facilities for free. All that I'm doing is a partner agency. They use our facilities for free. Every subdivision and trustee group and all of that is able to use city facilities for their annual meetings. However, we have some subdivisions that use us multiple times a year, some that use us monthly. So it's a little uneven there. Open theater, we suspended them during the pandemic, and there is no space built for them in the new center. And I recommend they not continue with free use because they were getting free rehearsal space 2 times a week for the majority of the year and all the performances. So with our new center, we won't be able to sustain that. When the center was not used, when they first came in, it made sense because they were trying to get everybody to do it. The Red Cross uses this for free, and we are voting location. So a lot of these are reasonable and logical uses, free uses, but some of them probably need a little bit more structure. So I think over the theater is one where I would like to be able to say, no, you can't come back. Well, they can come back. They can come back. Exactly. We told them that, but it's me saying it, and I don't know what the actual. You're correct. No longer, yes. So I no longer. So my recommendation on this is that the Boy and Girl Scouts, I think there should be some structure to that. Maybe specific limitation of hours. Right now, every group comes to us, even the adult trainings. And perhaps it should be limited to people that live in all that, or stuff groups or Girl Scout groups that are open in all that. And Dawn is very familiar with the Scouts, and we have talked about this. So, is there a Scout structure that would make it easy for us to identify?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it like every scout, on the Boy Scout side, or now the Scouts of America side, there's a chartered organization. So if a chartered organization like Old Bottom School, so the Cub Scouts that are in Old Bottom School typically use Old Bottom as their charter organization. Well, Logos School can have the same. Marion can have the same. Hillcrest can have the same. So right there, we're starting to see. But some of these schools aren't allowing, or it's difficult for these groups to use their chartered organization as their meeting place. So we've become the pseudo, resting spot for that. The adults meet once a month. It's the first Tuesday of every month, and it's called the Roundtable. And they use us for that. And it's all the adult leaders coming in, learning what, whatever the hot topic is for that month, and what the push, what the push is for that month for, camp outs or, organizations for trips and stuff like that. And then, so we've become that, that landing spot too. So it's, yeah, and the court of in the court of honor, the Eagle Court of Honor, the Eagle Review Board. So they're going on at the same time. So when the adults come in for roundtable, it's Court of Honor and the roundtable and the Cub Scouts. So you've got 3 groups, all associated with the same thing. They're all doing the same thing, and the head person goes around and talks to each group for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and answers questions. But we've got 3 groups and 3 rooms spread across the building, all for free, and nobody else can use it. Is that something?
So, question, what do we work on tonight? And who owns this? The staff
So,
on this need to come back with very specific
so
recommendations.
this, we have to do a recommendation, the staff's going to do a recommendation to the city council, because the city council probably hasn't addressed this in their.
Does that come from the commissioners?
No, I need to know from you, are there any groups on here that you feel very strongly should have free use? So I just need your input on this section.
One of the things that strikes me about the school district is the safe pavilion only. that we're talking about too.
That is correct. I will make a note of that.
Yeah.
It's the pavilion and the parking lot.
So I mean, I think we just need to, clearly, we try to cooperate, but we need to make sure that that is something that everyone's aware of.
Yes.
So this piece of the presentation, I think we've gotten a lot of good education tonight in
Yeah.
terms of what the things are. So you'll make a recommendation on the fees.
You need to make a recommendation on the fees to recommend that you sent to the city council, and then a second recommendation only if anybody has comments. You only need a recommendation on this if there's a consensus that someone should be.
So from what I'm hearing you say with this, is that this is a city council thing that comes from staff, which would go through bar, from you to bar to city council.
Well,
Not through you.
the parks, the city council's gonna ask, has the parks commission reviewed this?
We would not look at it unless we do.
Okay, so I guess,
Unless we recommend it to come to us.
so what I would say on the free piece,
Yes.
we come back with a very specific recommendation. I don't know that we're ready to talk about that.
Okay, so
tonight.
we can bring this back.
Yeah, why don't we bring this free use back
Okay.
and maybe see if there's other things going on? I mean, for instance, like the voting thing, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer, right.
Uh,
So these are mostly
but,
no-brainers.
so from what Don and you were talking about with the scouts, some of these other things, I think if we can get a recommendation, we can talk all night about it.
Yes.
So if you can come back with a very specific
We'll come
recommendation.
back to the recommendation, and we'll also come back with a record of pre-pandemic, how many hours we're talking about.
Right, yeah, very, very specific. So it strikes me in terms of this presentation that the city council, that if we, as we look at this, we are presenting the fee recommendations to serve as a document. I mean, I think the access to all kind of, I mean, it's very important from a philosophic standpoint. But do we need to do any more than affirm the membership program, the room rates?
Tonight, the recommendation is to approve the room rates and the membership rates to go to council. The access to all, I wanted your input on it tonight, then I will write a separate policy, we'll come back to it again.
Okay,
Before it goes
that's,
to the council.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
kind of tease it
Yeah, no
apart.
problem, because there wasn't a recommendation written in the, item.
Yeah, I have a question about the membership. I'm sure you guys have looked at like, operating costs versus revenue when you bring in
Yes.
income even. How many families, how many adults do you need to sign up at these prices to balance that?
We actually have that in our pro forma, and
Is that in the pro forma or is that in?
it's in the pro forma, it's in the city budget, so,
I'll keep looking that up. One of the things that's interesting to me, we were talking with Darren, on the finance. He's pretty cool with just what's happening with the budget. And therefore, there's some city subsidy and so forth. But I was shocked in terms of, he did not necessarily go back to the line out. It's probably over the city.
yeah, so the goal is for us to not increase the subsidy we have from the city right now. And with having membership fees and having increased participation, we will easily meet that goal.
Salaries that are operating expenses. The operating
I'm just
costs.
really curious the percentage of like all of that population that. Obviously, some, you know, it's like this, get to that,
I'm trying to.
I don't think it's a good idea of
Yeah.
whether these fees are reasonable or not.
Darren's got it for the next.
Yeah, this may be for another meeting, I was curious.
We absolutely put a target on each one, and I'm going into the budget document. I was just trying to evaluate it. I didn't think to pull that up in another meeting.
But I think if, and then also if we're moving forward with this, once we start selling them, this, we could on a regular basis to let us know how many we have sold.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Versus
Just like we do the annual facility rental, we'll do the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. Okay, I found it. Here, let me do that share. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. We're looking at, we'd like to sell 395 families, 65 plus, and, sorry, 230 families, 395 adults. And then this is our non-resident count. So this is what we're using right now as our target, and then here's our weekly counts for the daily fee. So, again, we have no idea.
Right.
Since we don't currently have a fitness center, we just don't know.
So you're looking for revenue of about 300,000.
Right,
Okay.
right.
I mean, that, we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from your experience, like you said, 8 to 10% of population, that's a fairly, like, I have no idea.
We think so. We
10%
think
is
it's
pretty.
attainable. I will tell you, because this is also new, I mean, it does make us think it's nice, because we've never done anything like this in all that before. So, you know, I can tell you the city I came from, with a population of 30,000, we probably saw about 15% of the, we did not have a membership program, but we did include, this is, now we're projecting years ago, our annual revenue is 2.5 million, so we're doing pretty well. But again, we're a smaller community, but I think it's going to give the advantage that we're giving, which is going to grab people. Then it's our job to keep them interested and keep it running. So, we may knock it out of the park, it may be far higher than that, but still we open the doors, we just don't know. So, the one on that free list, yes, that was, I think it's interested in seeing the numbers. Yes. Of the somebody who, you know, who's used there, how often they use it, starting at the top floor. Because in the past, it seems like certain subdivisions have really wanted to use it more than others. That's true. And now we have these rooms, so this, I mean, it could be the council says, hey, you want to use a room, use one of the civic center. Yeah. So it's good to see what number we got. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What's the part of the year of each school? Yeah. So I will commit to bring that back to you.
What I would do is ask for a motion on to recommend to the council staff, or from the staff recommendation to council on new rentals and on annual membership programs. Of so many.
Recommendation to approve.
Staff recommendations of the,
I'm going to say recommendation to approve the proposed rental and membership fees for, what do you normally say? It's a recommendation to, present to the city council.
okay, for council
For them,
for council consideration.
But do you want a year attached to it?
What?
A year, for the year 2024.
For this.
2023,
You
then
know,
over
for fiscal 2020, are you going, July 1st, you're going to do?
you know, you don't have to say that.
Okay,
Because the
so we
fees
get
get,
that over
the
the
fees
year.
get notified to the, no, I'll write a report.
With just the 10, I think,
Just to, yeah, the report that goes to council will just be the fees. It won't show the free use yet, that'll be a separate item.
this is simply the community center.
Correct.
So that as we move into the parks, that is.
I don't think you need, yeah, I don't think you'll need to do the parks, because the parks we've also done in the.
Okay. And does the council affirm these every year, or how do they do that?
No, so our fees are in the code. We adopted the code.
Okay, okay. So I don't think it's fair, I can create a motion, do I hear a motion?
And I'm happy to read the motion.
Okay, read it out first. Yeah, I guess the easiest way to get it.
We're looking for a recommendation to approve the proposed rental and membership fees for council consideration.
I would say, for 5 rows, I'll work with.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 5 votes on the list.
Maxine, I don't want to put this fiscal year in there.
I understand that, no, I understand that.
Okay, recommendation to approve the proposed rental and membership fees for 5 Oaks on Morrison. Council consideration.
For council.
As recommended by, Brad.
Rob,
Do I hear a second? Bill?
Bill?
Okay.
And you can open it up to more discussion.
Any questions? For the conversation?
I'm supposed to be originally, but I do have a question. An hour away from here, but easier to do it here. Is there gonna be a minimum of how many hours on some of these room like this?
Currently, don't do that.
Okay, and the clean, the cost of having, facility, somebody coming in like this, in fact, like, for instance, the indoor playground. You have a facility person or
We do, that's, the fees cover that.
so the $35 include a room
Yes.
or a indoor playground at $55.
So our current community center, when we did the last fee study, was the first time we kind of looked at what does it cost to keep the community center open. That was a big deal that the Parks and Rec Commission looked at. They determined the old community center is $35 an hour for us to have. So that's when, we had fees that were $7 an hour. They went up to where they got, and that was with one study. So this study, the indoor playground will never be rented, but the rest of the center isn't open. So it doesn't have to carry the full cost to open the center. Now, the multi-purpose rooms will. The multi-purpose rooms will probably be open for an event when the fitness center is not in operation. So they cost more. Because the coverage cost of the facility attendant, the cleaning, and whatever it is for the people. But again, we don't know yet what our actual operating costs are. Everything is a projection.
So do we need to add to this? The park staff and the marketing standpoint have the ability to create packages?
No, that will be in the report to the council.
Okay.
This is just the way we operate it now. It's very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've heard a motion.
And you have a second.
We have a second. So, we vote. And all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So,
Awesome. Thank you very much. I know that was an incredibly long conversation, but I really appreciate it. here and go through that.
Actually helps us with the budget.
So, just a quick, the next section is a quick, there's been some discussion about putting a time capsule in at the community center. Rather than digging into that, I think you'll see number 8, I think it's pages 9 through 18 on the agenda. That we need to, like, get a group of us to see where we might, how we might do that and what that would look like. Beverly's provided us some information on time capsules. I'm involved in a lot of other things, so do I hear anyone that would be willing to work on that, and come back with a recommendation? If it's good or it's not. Okay. Okay. So we can have people given, I only have 2, from open meetings. But do I hear anyone else? Sue and Bill.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
So why don't we move along?
I'm really excited about the possibility, because I think that, like, I was saying, that was
Yeah.
the tree outside here in the hallway, and, you know, they just really, you know. Community bonding experience. So if anyone else, are you like this, you should go with it?
Yeah. We'll open up the conversation. And only 3 at a time. Yeah. Yes. Okay, Beverly, can you briefly, I don't know whether this is
So-
something that we can briefly talk
Well,
about.
I'm going to do it incredibly brief.
Okay,
You will be amazed. Okay, so in your packet, you have the project dashboard for the parks. So please take a look at it. The parks are going incredibly well. The Stacy Park, if you've been by, you can see the progress of the renovation of the restaurant. Amazing. I encourage you all to walk there. I apologize, parking is at a premium, so Lindley, I've heard, is a very good place to park. Or,
They have no parking signs, so.
on both sides now?
well, if you go down far enough, or you go on weekends, you can park at the school.
Yes.
Walk over on bicycle.
Yes, you can walk over by that, exactly.
I
Okay.
think that's huge, so I let them walk. Everybody is coming to park.
Okay, then the other thing I want to share, and this is what's tricky about people on Zoom, so I need to go back and share my screen again so that I make sure that I'm showing you the correct. This is the community center one. So community center has fallen behind about right now officially 8 days. So they're behind on grading with the rain, and had anticipated the walls to be a little higher than that. But the contractor has engaged a new grading company, Bomarito. They have really stepped it up the last drop, probably the best outside his backyard. You can definitely see the foundations going into the new parks operations building. So I do think they're going to. Those are soil. Yes. Yes, so, when the budget was created, you probably remember we had all those contingencies in there. So one of the specific contingencies was specifically for soil remediation. We told in for our soil samples that we were gonna have 1, take down fatty clay, and 2, I'm gonna say the technical terms, because I would be incorrect, but a lot of water in the soil for the liquefaction. So we had to excavate further and bring in the soil. So they, motion went to, the meeting. Bill went to the city council. The last thing was to approve using some of the contingencies before that soil remediation. The community center is pretty solid right now. We've had to do additional at Stacy. So Stacy, they actually found water under like 5 feet below the surface in several parts of Stacy. I mean, it makes sense. There's a creek that used to go around that, so it makes sense. And we also know that we always have a lake right from the old lake. So the areas where they're putting in the new patio, if they had to do more soil remediation there. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we start moving on. So there's been a lot of conversation about how to actually do the asphalt work in the parking lot. We have planned engineers beforehand, but once they, even though you can core sampling, once you open up, so there may be another soil remediation coming back on state and don't know yet. However, we still have money left in that. So far, we're right on target with the budget. So we are behind on this, and I'm very hopeful that we make this things up, but we'll see. The roof struts are on site. We actually, the brick has been received by the contractor. It's sitting in their yard, so we see photographs of it. But do read through these dashboards. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me. And then I did want to share quickly, those of you that haven't been able to be out there, let me share a couple pictures. If you, so I'm back at work next week. If you would like to come out, and here's a picture of the, so it's actually, it looks very different. I took this last week. So right now the whole thing's been painted. So if you can't tell, what's happened here is this is remains of the original pavilion. The other pavilion is just stretched further along here. New supports were put in, a new roll-up door is in here. We have a new door here. The total inside has been renovated. We have this beautiful new roof. This color of the roof is the same color of the new pavilion. This is the new seat wall for the patio of the new pavilion that's coming. And I think I have a picture. You guys, have everyone seen the big pillars out there? Giant pillars that are rising up out next to the parking lot. Those are the pillars of the new pavilion. So that new pavilion is prefab structure and metal, as you all know, is the way that it is done. So we purchased that pavilion before we had the contract. So it is on its way. It will arrive. We're getting closer. I keep saying it's going to be way in the future, like July, but we're getting closer and closer. It's 2 months away now. So they'll start seeing active construction in July. They're going to, a lot of their activity is going to, Stacy is going to shift over to Villa and the Meadows, and then to July is going to be on the side. This crew has been amazing. They just work so fast.
I was over at Stacy earlier this week, and the bathroom storage facility looks completely painted. They were working on the restrooms.
Yeah.
The roof is on, so that.
They're right up. I don't see any problem with the restrooms not being ready to have this on. These are the roof struts that have arrived. You can see some of the initial paneling. It's on site in the community center. For those of you, so what I forgot to say is I'm back with you next week. If you have an opportunity to come by and you want to go out and see the construction site, I can take you down there the first time. After that, you can go down on your own with reason, depending on the time of day. You have to wear hard hats, closed-toed shoes, and safety vests. But Dawn and myself can get you out there. You can walk through. It's still bare bones out there, but it is fascinating. We took the staff out there last week, and then for the first time, they all got to walk on into the pad in the center, and they were very excited. So if that's something that you want to do, we'll make it happen. Same thing at Stacy. I can put you behind the scenes at Stacy if you want to go and walk around and see that. So just sending, after, I would say after next week. But next week's going to be very hard with our.
One question on Bill.
Yes.
Because yesterday,
That's Silver Spring.
I don't think I was supposed to. What?
Oh, it's not showing it? This is the problem with the change, things people.
There you go.
So anyway, I went in through our subdivision unofficial way. so it's Not closed off. There were people walking dogs.
There you go.
And so we need to make sure that they close.
That was a problem on Monday and again on Tuesday.
But you're just fixing the backside.
And I sheepishly went
They-
in. It went out. But I think replaced all the sidewalks and those.
So Villa, since our last meeting, we talked about the, so we had to change the engineering of the,
On tests.
on tests. We've had further meetings. It is a big project. It's a really big project. There is an incredible amount of stormwater that goes through there. So what happens is when people work on a project, they work on a project. It took city staff to sort of realize that the water leaves the park after the project. So we can't fault the engineers, the architects, they're doing the job that they're decided to do. But because we're doing this other project in that neighborhood, they're looking at stormwater and realizing that, oh my heavens, we have to deal with that. So they're still working on it. They're still working on a solution to reduce the stormwater runoff and still get an access point in there. If it becomes too big for this project, we'll have to take it. Yeah. But we'll still do it. It just won't be part of the project because we're going to take stormwater money into consideration.
But my question was in other parts of the park, because what I did notice was that they marked slabs way down. And there were areas where they were not marked, that cracks, and there's.
Not every,
I mean, there's uneven slabs.
yes, so some things are getting overlaid, some things are getting removed. I have to actually.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
are there other questions of Beverly on Park? And I'm assuming you get this by every 2 weeks.
No, we did this once a month, and I did it to you right away.
Okay, great.
These are posted online as well, right?
They,
I might be behind in posting them, but yes,
I was gonna say after the meeting.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. Well, they're in our agendas, in our,
And they're, and you're on.
and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
in council.
that's right.
But I'm not sure they're on the project pages, is what I'm saying. I don't know, I have to look.
Oh, there's the draft folder, all the content.
The council, they're on the council ones too. Yes, that's it. The council gets these and you get them. And you, depending on where the meetings fall, sometimes the council gets them.
Okay, are there other questions about construction that's going on? Commissioner reports, I know I've worked with teams, I think memorials have been tabled for a bit, because we kind of dealt with that, but we're working with those in the future. Ed was on that group, and so we're looking to.
So before the meeting, I had a meeting with Bill and with Dr. Jim, and I think that it's time to bring the work plan back to at the next meeting, just to revise it, especially with Ed in memorials, we want to replace it. So I'll bring that.
So I think, does anybody have anything to report of, first reports? Hearing none, we go on to future agenda items. I think the work plan is essential, because as we're looking into it, we focus so much on construction at this point. We need to be looking at operations. We need to be looking 6 to 18 months out in terms of what's going on. I know staff is trying to work with the next hour. So, but so we need to be looking at the longer term. There's nights out, upcoming dates.
Actually, we just decided yesterday to cancel it because we only have 4 people signed up.
Kids now.
Oh, really? Okay.
We had a bunch of, we had some people back out of the.
And before you get away.
Yeah, we had waited this year.
Yeah, and it's, I think it's just,
It's seasonal.
we might have picked the wrong time. No.
Tell your neighbors, May 21st, Saturday. We have the fire department. No. So, my next meeting is June 15th. Do we sponsor the citywide garage sale or how is that?
We do, the Parks and Rec department.
Okay. 15th, other items that need to come up. Yes.
That I think we can get something for tomorrow's meeting from Benjamin Zoning and look at our tactics. So, you know, where we are with that.
Yes, you're planning.
They were mixed in.
Yeah.
They somehow, so we were all printing to the same printer.
I think I have to come get them.
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
Anyone?
You can go online and see them, I'm sure, to the agenda.
I think Carlos is probably.
Oh, I think tomorrow,
Right,
Carlos
Carlos.
can hear you print.
I think so too. We'll put one as best.
This is the very best photo. Yeah, I was looking at that, I was gonna say, I looked for parks on that, so.
Hey, it's every man for himself.
I guess that's, yeah. Okay,
Well, the worst part is, the worst part is we already put them all out, so I don't know how they got back in there.
thank you for coming.
I know.
I know, you have gone pulled these out. So, did you put them back in the copier?
No.
Put it on.
No.
So, anyway.
I wonder if he printed it
If there's
twice.
further business,
Once he printed it.
Time up, guys. Let's, here, a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Wait, sorry, Rob was the, who was the second?
Yeah.
Travis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Travis, Travis. Okay.
All right, thanks you guys.
Thanks.
Thank
See
you.
everyone on the 15th.